Ready? Play.
With Iga obviously losing to Alexandrova in the round of 16, how much of a surprise was that loss? Was this just not her event?
Yeah, I listen. Whenever Swiatek loses, it's a surprise, but it does happen every now and then. I always, I look at Iga Swiatek, and I've been lucky enough to see her right from the very start of her career, and her success is quite extraordinary. And it doesn't need me to tell you what she's done at the very highest level. And yet, I always feel there is an element of fragility about her. And I do remember we are now going back actually to the WTA finals in Guadalajara. So that's a fair while ago, and she's developed massively. But I remember she was really struggling, blustery conditions. We know it's tough in Mexico because of the altitude and all the rest of it. But she was actually crying at the back of the court a couple of times. And there's always that small feeling in the back of my mind that no matter how well she's playing, she might just, stumble for no apparent reason at any given time. And therefore, when she does lose matches that she's expected to win, it doesn't come as big a surprise to me as perhaps it should. I still think she's a fantastic player. But yeah, there isn't the complete domination when she's on. I mean, however many bagel sets she's had over the past 2 or 3 years is absolutely ridiculous. When she's on top of an opponent, then okay, get the next players ready because this match is not going to last long. But there does seem to be a slight lack of logic in that she can be dominant for very long periods of time, and then suddenly she is human as well. It can unravel. So for that reason, and I didn't see all of the match as well. I need to preface that, but I saw bits of some of the highlights, and when I heard the result at the time, I wasn't poleaxed by it. I was surprised, but I'll never be totally poleaxed when Swiatek loses because there is to me just a hint of vulnerability, as wonderful, as dominant as she has been.
That's interesting. So again, I didn't see that match either. I usually watch every Iga Swiatek match I can, but that was a time where it just wasn't really plausible for me to do. For what I can gather, Alexandrova hit her off the court. And we have to preface that with Alexandrova is a player who has given Iga Swiatek problems before. I think there's only been one match of theirs where she failed to win a set against Iga. This is the first match where Alexandrova got the job done and won 2 sets. But she has been a thorn in Iga's side. It wasn't a massive surprise that opponent was going to cause her problems. Add to that Noskova match that she had where she was up and then Noskova came back and she kept allowing Noskova back into it. And I was just feeling like she's not. That's going to be a real scrap if she's going to end up winning the title that way. So maybe she was going off the boil a little bit during that run. It's interesting that you say that. I think there has been some discussions around Swiatek's potential fragility, but I don't think it comes out that often. I don't think but I do think that she also maybe has this reputation that she's expected to win everything, and maybe she loses more than people expect. It's kind of the opposite end of the scale in some ways.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, it's the way she plays. I mean, when she hits that ball so early, so hard, and when it's on, it's this. How are you doing this? And particularly in tricky conditions. I mean, I keep referring to WTA finals because I've been so lucky to go to the last 3, and the one at the end of last year played in near gales and rain and all the rest of it.
The chaos in Cancun.
I mean, purely from a very selfish point of view, that was one of the best weeks I have ever had covering tennis. I had in Cancun because, I mean, it was all laid on for us, lovely, 5-star hotel, all the rest of it, beautiful beach out the back of it. The tennis court was 5 minutes away. But to try and play tennis on what was effectively a hotel court as well, the bounces were awful. Everybody was struggling, except Swiatek, who was still able to produce that high percentage gain to devastating effect. And, she ran away with things in the end. So, the way she does play, I think it allows her to have off days. And, we kind of get I think maybe because over the past few years, the likes of Serena have been so dominant on the women's side, we've become very accustomed to 2 or 3 men ruling the roost. It shouldn't be like that. You've got some fantastic players near the top of the game who have every right to beat the top player. So when the number one in the world or the number two in the world lose every now and then, it's come on, it's one against one. It's going to happen. And come the end of the year, I still think Swiatek will be the player to pick up more titles than anybody else. So if you're an Iga fan, don't panic.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.